features are planned as we receive this year's first development wishlist update. 2 new versions of the beta build for Sim Update 12 have been released, and we have all the important highlights, including all of this week's previews and announcements and release news. This week's previews and announcements news, TFDI this week shared some insights and updates around the development of the MD11. The team was over in the Close Traffic podcast discussing the project's development, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Great news, TFDI did mention they are planning releasing it in September for the MD11, and the lucky 1000 simmers who did the pre-purchase should have access to the aircraft around about June. TFDI did not confirm, but they did mention they will try to release the MD11 on the marketplace and perhaps on the Xbox if the ability is compatible to do so. As the team ramps up the release, we will keep an eye out on more development news regarding the MD11. Top Mark Studios, this is the team behind the F-22, this week announced they are developing the Boeing Saab T-7A Red Hawk. At this stage, the development is very early on, but Top Mark is hoping to have the TA at a stage for beta testing in early summer. The team mentioned they plan to release on Xbox as well as PC and intend to provide high visual details as well as a fairly realistic experience. Top Mark will use a public available information on the aircraft to create a high fidelity aircraft that will include simulated touchscreens. No real detail at this stage on other things that will be included in the feature list, but the team did share some very early on screenshots. As always, we'll keep you posted on any more development news on this project. Aeroplane Heaven is back in the news again this week. We haven't heard much from the team since the release of the DC-3, which was part of the 40th anniversary edition. The team mentioned they have many projects on the go, but weren't able to provide much information at this stage about them. This week we received a small update on the Avro Lancaster, which was first teased a little while ago. Now the team is focused on this project to complete and release it by the second half of 2023. For now, we only have a few new images of the Lancaster, and Aeroplane Heaven will update us later on in the year on their other projects. Blackbird Simulations went on stream as they did their annual update of the team's current projects. Other than updating us on their many projects, they did announce a new brand called Strike Simulations. This new brand aims at releasing a bunch of low complex aircraft. These products have been developed during the P3D and the FSX era, and the team aims to optimize them to work with a Microsoft Flight Simulator. They will not be study level by any standard, but more of a fun experience at a low cost. These will be released on Xbox as well as PC, but ensures a smooth flying experience for the console users. Some of the first aircraft we will see with Strike Simulations is the PA-30 Twin Comanche and the 530F helicopter, and also a Baron. On the Blackbird Simulation side, the team did update us on some of their more complex products, including the F-86, which is almost done. The 737-200 model is being enhanced and the FMS is being coded. The F-15 Eagle, the Huey, and the SR-71 are all being worked on, but there's no release date as of yet. The team did mention that some of these projects will be about 12 months to 18 months off, but it's good to see that we are getting some updates. And of course, we'll keep you updated on any more Blackbird Simulation news and releases. We have many developers working on projects. If you'd like to see content that we create keeping up with all the latest developments and news, please hit that subscribe button. This really shows us that we are providing content that you guys like to watch, and we thank you for your support. Taxiing over to this week's release news, and the first one goes to the team over at RHD Simulations as they released the Boeing 767-300ER. The team has mentioned over on their feature list that they are using a modified cockpit screen, which leads us to believe they are using systems based on the default 747 within the simulator. Other features that are included in the release are an accurate 3D model of the exterior and the flight deck and the cabin, optional winglets and original wingtips, 4K and 8K textures, true-to-life animations of the flight control services, 13 included liveries of airliners from all around the globe. This version of the Boeing 767 is not going to be a study-level aircraft, but similar type to what we've seen with other developers releasing in recent times. As always, with any flight sim purchase, please do your research. No word from the RNHD simulations team about their Boeing 767 that will be released on Xbox, but PC users now can pick up their copy directly from the SimMarket website. Again, as always, links in the description below. Before we jump into this week's video, I want to thank SoFly for sponsoring this video. SoFly offer a number of products for Microsoft Flight Simulator, catering to new pilots for the sim and all the way to very experienced pilots. As a flight sim content creator, my favorite SoFly product is Weather Presets Pro, which comes in really handy when the weather is not behaving itself and you can change the weather to be more dramatic or even to a perfect day. Other products I like to use is Landing Challenge Pro, Flight Simulator Guide, which is the manual to Microsoft Flight Simulator, the one that should have been, Storms for pilots who want to chase some of the biggest storms in the world's history. I will leave a link in the description below or where you can go and check out SoFly products, and I would like to thank SoFly for sponsoring this video. RS Avis Sims, hopefully I said that correctly, this week released the Flying Flea. This bug-like aircraft was created in France in the 1930s and it was designed to be a simple and affordable way for people to get in the air and go flying. The aircraft did have its criticisms, as many thought it was unstable and dangerous to fly, and it was different to the standard rudder and aileron flying. The Flying Flea comes with 4K PBR textures, 4 different engine models including the Rotax, the Salmons, the Scott Screwer and the Card Ford engines. 10 different 3D models were built from scratch, as well as 18 liveries. You can pick up your copy of the RS Avis Sims Flying Flea directly from the Just Fly or the AnyBuild store, links in the description below. Last week we mentioned that Flight Sim Studios wrapped up on their beta testing for the Tecnam P2006T, and this week they now have released the project. The P2006T is a twin-engine 4-seater light aircraft designed and manufactured in Italy. Features 2 Rotax 912S3 engines, which also include 100 horsepower. Features included in the release is a accurate replica of the Tecnam, animations including all cockpit switches, buttons and knobs, aircraft doors and control surfaces are all animated, highly detailed textures with PBR. It's compatible with all the sim's icing and rain effects, all circuit breakers are working, emergency gear down, realistic walk around feature and custom that also includes a persistent state staving and custom sound set recorded from the real aircraft. The package also includes a realistic and easy mode, which is something we're seeing from Flight Sim Studios from their deliveries of late. You can pick up your copy of the Tecnam from Flight Sim Studios directly from the Aerosoft store. As always, I'll leave a link in the description below. Lining up on the runway for this week's sim update news, this week Microsoft Flight Simulator have released the Antonov AN225. This 225 was developed by I&I Builds or AnyBuilds, the team behind the Airbus A310 from the 40th anniversary edition. The 225 has only been released on PC, but now will be released on Xbox once Sim Update 12 has been released in late March. All the proceeds to the sales go towards the Antonov company, which will use them to fund towards rebuilding another 225. Big thumbs up to Asoba and Microsoft for doing this and helping an iconic aircraft take to the skies again. Sim Update number 12 is traveling along. The Microsoft team released an additional releases to the beta team, which was version 1.31.19. and then 1.31.2020. These have been added with a bunch of bug fixes and improvements and a bunch of aircraft that have additional updates, including the Airbus A310, the Bell 407, the Citation, the JN4 and the TBM, just to mention a few. Sim Update 12 is still on schedule for a late March release. This week we have some big news regarding the first feedback snapshot and a wish list. We haven't seen one of these since last year. The team has updated us on their blog this week with a new version. The wish list is a very significant way for us to see insights of what features the team are working on without having announced another Sim Update 12. Now we get to see what features may land later this year, and some of the highlights that are listed to be planned or have been started are: first one is Seasons, which has been started, which will be a big undertaking considering how the sim currently displays ortho. Shared cockpit is still planned, it hasn't started but they've got it listed as planned. Power lines, antennas cars, Mars cable cars are all planned at this stage. The Northern Lights are also planned, and a bunch of other improvements are under investigation, but they haven't been mentioned that they are started at this stage. But we won't talk about them just in case they don't get confirmed or there's no developing done with those features. Again, this is great to see the inside of the development of the sim happening, and it's good that Asobo is keeping us up to date with some of the features they plan to release this year or maybe next year. The new updated development roadmap has been updated with a World Update 12 is now scheduled for the 25th of April, and the ATR is scheduled for the same day. This is nice to see dates for these. We don't have confirmation at this stage of what part of the world we will see the next World Update. However, most likely these are usually announced after another sim update, so we should see it after sim update 12. This week we've seen quite a large number of releases in the in-sim marketplace. We've seen 18 new products in total. All of these products are available on Xbox, and 17 of these available on PC. That being said, I think it's already released on PC. Mercenaries have released a CH-54 and also an S-64 helicopters. It seems to be they are smashing out the helicopters, and also the Flying Fee has been released by ARA Avis Simulations that we mentioned earlier in the video. Other products include, as usual, are made up on airports, mission packs, and also livery packs. We would love to know your thoughts on what features you would like to see still added to the sim in future updates. Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for more content like this, and we will see you on the next one.